Hi, I'm Marty Nemko, and here are 7 money tips that have helped many of my clients and me. Number 1, be a saver more than a spender. Beyond the basics, we quickly reach a point of diminishing returns when we make additional purchases like a nicer house, a fancier car, more expensive clothes, or luxury vacations. Plus, and importantly, a materialistic lifestyle often requires job compromises. For example, pursuing a more remunerative but less rewarding career. In that you spend so much time at work, that can hurt your overall quality of life more than any additional purchases, or all collectively the additional purposes improve it. Tip 2, investing cost and time effectively. First, I want to say the opinions I'm offering here are tales from the front. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. You may wish to consult one before making a major financial decision. It's hubristic to think that you can beat the market. Even most professionals don't. And chasing large returns usually imposes more risk than the benefit justifies. Risky stocks, limited partnership deals, and such usually result in a lower net return when day is done. Plus, there's greater risk of outright fraud when you're dealing with the small operators that often are behind such ventures. Vanguard, Schwab, and Fidelity aren't going to run away with your money. For most employed people, it's wise to at least first park your money in as your first investment when you've got extra money, to park your money in a tax-advantaged retirement plan, such as a 401k, a 403b if you're working in a nonprofit, 457 plan, an IRA or Roth IRA. My favorite investments are, you can invest, once you open those accounts, you can, in many places, like at a Vanguard, you can invest it in anything you want, many things that you want. My favorites for simple, low-cost diversification is a Vanguard all-in-one fund. You can Google that. Again, my own investments do include Vanguard mutual funds, but I get no financial benefit from pointing them out to you. Anyway, tip 3, buying smart. For each significant purchase you want to make, decide whether you want the biggest bang for the buck or a better product, even if it's not quite as cost effective. The product with the best price to benefits ratio, in other words, highest quote net value, or simply the cheapest one. You might even consider the effects of your purchase beyond the benefits to you. For example, in buying a new car, you could just merely phone 3 local dealers and ask for their very best price, no negotiation. Not only does that require very little time and a lot less hassle than the usual driving around and haggling, even if that method causes you to pay a few extra bucks too much, not only will you save time, is it really so important that those dollars remain in your pocket rather than that of the salesperson and dealer? Maybe, for example, the salesperson would benefit more from that money than you would. So consider, sometimes at least, all of the impacts of your purchasing decisions. Now, that all said, it's usually time effective, where possible, to use Amazon and product review sites to identify the right product that you want to buy and the website that sells it most inexpensively. Shopping online really does save money and time. Obviously, it is rarely worth the time anymore to traipse around the stores and the shopping malls, braving the ever-worsening traffic, finding parking, hoping you'll find a quite right article at a good price, and getting pre-sale sales advice. It's worth all that hassle. Yeah, touching and feeling certain merchandise can be a plus, like clothing, but that benefit is coming at an ever greater price compared with buying online. Tip 4, finding cost-effective housing. Except maybe higher education, housing is most people's biggest expense. Whether you rent or you buy, don't let emotion make you pay too much. Some people pay too much for the modest decrease, actually is quite modest, in crime rate that you'd get in a safer neighborhood. Other people pay too much because the place was decorated well, staged well. Still other people pay too much for a high-status address. Keep cost effectiveness in mind, including what you could otherwise do with the money, and whether, for example, a tonier address is worth having to endure a job that you'd rather not do. You'd rather replace with something else that you'd enjoy more. Also, avoid paying fair market value. By the time an apartment or a house reaches the open market, it's priced at fair market value. And if it's priced too low, a bidding war usually raises the selling price. Instead, try to find an under the market place to live. If you're looking to rent, tell all your friends and maybe post flyers in desirable neighborhoods. If you're looking to buy, drive around desired neighborhoods and in the mailbox of fixer-upper houses, put a handwritten note explaining that you're looking for an affordable home to live in, you like their house, and wonder if they might be interested in selling it to you as is so you can put sweat equity into it and avoid a real estate commission. Tip 5. Making cost-effective major purchases. Here, we're talking mainly about cars, furniture, appliances, clothes, jewelry, and travel. Stay vigilant to paying too much for a designer label, which may not bring sufficient quality or perception advantage to justify the cost. For example, an average Toyota costs less than half an average Mercedes or BMW and so on, and breaks down less often. There is nothing prestigious about standing on the side of the road waiting for the tow truck. Notwithstanding the commercials for luxury cars, a car is basically an appliance. They all get you where you want to go. The differences are trivial relative to the price difference. The same thinking applies when you're deciding between high-end and mainstream appliances, designer label versus mainstream or even thrift store clothes, or staying in a Ritz-Carlton versus an Airbnb, upscale versus mainstream restaurants, and diamond and gold versus cubic zirconium and silver. Tip 6. Buying cost-effective higher education. Of course, Harvard grads do better than those at State U, but that's because they're smarter, more driven, and well-connected to begin with. As former Harvard President Charles Eliot said, probably only half joking, quote, "It is true that Harvard has become a storehouse of knowledge. The freshmen bring so much, and the seniors take away so little." Of course, a designer label on a diploma adds value, but that's got to be weighed against the cost as well as the great stress that comes from the, quote, best and brightest being hot-housed together for 4+ years. You don't necessarily learn more by spending more. What you do at college and graduate school matters more than where you do it. It may be wise to, and convince your college-bound child to at least start out at a low-cost college like a community college or a state university, maybe an honors program, which is a patch of ivy, and then maybe to get into that designer label transfer school, transfer to a designer label college, so you get that designer label on the diploma. Per each child, that saving can well be into 6 figures just for undergraduate education. And you put 2 kids through college and graduate school, and you're approaching $1 million sticker price with only limited cash financial aid available to most middle and especially upper income people. And tip 7, making wise charity choices. Your charity dollars and time yield the most benefit when the cause is unpopular. If it's unpopular, it's well funded, and your dollars are unlikely to make much difference. And your charity dollars and time yield the most benefit when it would have a large ripple effect. For example, if you donate to a hospice program, you help make dying people more comfortable, but your money has limited ripple effect on improving society. There are some other examples of not particularly cost-effective and ripple effect charities, like donating to museums, symphony, theater, animal causes. Far more ripple will likely accrue to, for example, funding an after-school program for intellectually gifted kids in working-class public schools. If you fund a program in a high-income school, it's going to make less difference because the parents can afford to buy the supplementation. And if you fund such a program in a very low-income school, it may make less difference because such schools' student population have severe enough of a constellation of challenges that your money may not help as much as when you give to a working-class school. The takeaway? Even many highly educated people don't use all their IQ points when dealing with spending and investing, and I'm hoping that the ideas that I've just shared with you may help. I am Marty Nemko. Thanks for watching. By the way, this is part of a series of tips for smart people. The others are 5 tips for smart people in a not-so-smart world, 5 learning tips for smart adults, 5 tips for smart job seekers, 4 dating tips for smart people, and 10 tips for parents of a smart child. You can find all of those in video on this channel and the text on my blog on Psychology Today. Just search on psychologytoday.com and Marty Nemko and you'll find them. Anyway, again, I'm Marty Nemko. Thanks a lot for watching.